Live. What's up, everybody? I have a big show for you tonight. I'm super excited. Jake Paul absolutely went in on Dana White and the UFC, called them idiots, said they're not smart enough. He said all kinds of shit. He said Zufa Boxing is making big mistakes. He said he can help them stop being idiots. Man, Jake Paul went in on him today. Plus, Money Moicano says he only wants easy fights. He's a UFC fighter. I think he sees what's happening with MVP and there being big money fights over there. He's starting to get it. And man, it's starting to look like some people would say a mutiny where the fighters are now leaning towards going over to MVP. Brendan Schaub went in on Nate Diaz again. He threw Nate right under the bus. Man, there's so much drama going on right now. There's so much freaking drama. We're gonna get into all of it. And speaking of drama, Jake Paul also said he's suing people that are alleging that he fixes fights. So if you think he and Mike Tyson had that fight fixed, he may sue you guys. We're going to get into all of that. We have a very big show for you tonight. I'm your host, King David MMA. I'm a professional MMA champion, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Plus, I coach and I teach at Extreme Couture, the best gym on the planet. Let me get this set up real quick for you guys, and I'm going to hop right into the chat. So if you have not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because I prefer to have a convo with you guys. I'm trying to connect. I'm trying to reach out. I'm trying to link. Hit the chat. You know what I'm saying? That way we can have an interaction. That way we can have a dialogue instead of a monologue. So shout out to everybody who subscribed. The chat has already started. We got Arpon the Don in the chat saying we are live. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty other. If any of you guys know why when I go live, there it doesn't pick up the mic at first. Like I've got to cancel it out and then go live again. So when I post the link to my Instagram and then come back to the live and then start the live, for whatever reason, half the time it never starts the microphone. So then I got to close out of the live and I got to make a new live. So if anybody knows why that's happening, let me know because I have no idea why the F that is doing that. Speaking of crazy shit, go to Fight Circus on Instagram. Check out Fight Circus's Instagram. They got the craziest freaking fights you've ever seen in your life. They have big fat guys smoking cigarettes and boxing. They've got little people fighting 2-on-1, 3-on-1 versus regular sized humans. They've got people who claim that they're ladyboys fighting traditional men over in Thailand with elbows and bare shins and all kinds of stuff. They have the craziest fights you've ever seen. They got Rampage Jackson in a big t-shirt with Bob Sapp fighting two other guys in a big t-shirt. Whatever you're into, they got for you. Check out Fight Circus and make sure you send your gym owner, your coach, your trainer to studiomillions.com. Studio Millions will pack their gym full of students who stay, pay, and refer. Your coach will absolutely love you. They'll thank you. They'll say thank you. You sent me to Studio Millions. It changed my life, man. Gym owners out here are struggling, man, and we fix that for them. StudioMillions.com. Let's get right into the show, guys. Let me hit this Zevia soda. They don't pay me. This is the energy drink. I'm over 800 milligrams of caffeine today. That's what we do around here. I'm not a doctor. Don't do that yourself. I'm just saying that's what I do. Jake Paul called Dana White and the UFC idiots today, guys. So Jake Paul was on the Theo Vaughn podcast, and they were talking about fighting, obviously, because he has the most valuable promotions on Netflix. They're doing an MMA card. They have Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. So, of course, they're going to talk MMA. And Jake threw him right in the bus. He says they don't pay fighters enough. He says that the NFL pays fighters 50% of what they make. He says the UFC pays closer to 15, 20. And when you take out Connor and John Jones, then it is even less. It's way less. He said it's like maybe 5 to 10%, something along those lines. And then he said that because Theo Vaughn said, well, Dana's a smart guy. He's like, man, not smart enough. And then he proceeded to say that they should buy that Zufa Boxing mispaid Conor Benn. They made a huge mistake. They're paying him $15 million for an easy fight against that Raphael dude. Jake Paul has some hot takes, guys. And One thing I've noticed about Jake Paul is he knows how to position himself and then play the media with the narrative that the people he's promoting a narrative, and then that's what's doing the promotion because now everybody that asks Dana at the press conference is doing Jake Paul's bidding because hey, did you hear what Jake Paul said? Did you hear what Jake Paul said? Did you hear what Jake Paul said? That's all promotion for the Netflix show. So, anyways, he also went in to say that Jake Paul, has like 30 million followers on Instagram. Dana only has 10 or whatever. So he's 3 times bigger than Dana as a promoter. Anyway, he also said that Netflix has a huge, huge audience and that Paramount Plus, he's like, who has Paramount Plus, right? Like essentially they're the place to be. And I'm telling you guys, when I'm at the gym, this is what people are talking about. I'm talking about the pro fighters that are either right on the cusp of getting signed to the UFC or that were in the UFC previously and can probably get signed again. The majority of them are talking about going to MVP instead. The managers are talking about going to MVP. MVP is talking about doing 12 shows, MMA shows on Netflix this year. That's wild. Like it's about to get so fucking nutty, man, because now there's competition, right? Now there's a streaming platform with a budget and a social media genius promoting MMA. It's this is the best time to be a fighter. Out. Period. So Jake Paul also said that Zufa, they're making mistakes, and that Zufa Boxing and the parent company that owns Zufa should buy Jake Paul out, and that Jake Paul will help them not be idiots because he says they're making mistakes already, that they're coming in and they're trying to do essentially the UFC business model in boxing. It's not going to work. He's saying they overpaid Conor Benn, which is what a lot of people are saying. They're saying they paid the wrong Conor. People want to see Conor McGregor at the White House. They don't want to see Conor Benn on Zufa Boxing against a dude named Raphael who nobody knows. Nobody knows who Conor Benn is either, right? The only reason people know him is because he got $15 million from Zufa Boxing. I guess the hardcore boxing heads might know him. Nobody else knows him, right? But meanwhile, we got Conor McGregor sitting on the shelf. We got John Jones sitting on the shelf, right? Like, what is going on here? So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. John, like, can you imagine if they would have had John Jones on the White House card? John Bones Jones, the fucking F-16's going overhead, red, white, and blue smoke. John Jones holding up the belt, But here's the thing, man. I was all about the White House card, but now we're overseas in a crazy ass altercation going back and forth. I'm not even sure if the White House card is going to go down, guys. Like when people were saying that it's going to be Strickland versus Hamzat at the White House, dude. First of all, that was before the Iran invasion and all the shit that's going on over there. Hamza is like on a fucking watch list because he's friends with the fucking Chechenian dictator. They're not going to let that dude at the White House, especially now. Strickland pops off. He's speaking out. I predicted all of this. If you go back and watch the first lives I was doing, Strickland is now speaking out against the war that's going on. He's speaking out against Trump. He's speaking out against the people who are allegedly behind Trump pulling the strings. Strickland's got these takes that are not in alignment with the messaging that the White House and the UFC would probably like at the White House show, right? So these fights, dude, this is getting so crazy because are they really going to still have a White House show? Like if America is still over there in war for whatever reasons that we're not going to discuss on tonight's show, but you guys can speculate as to why everybody's over there. Are they still going to have a fucking White House card? Is that even going to happen? Can you imagine if they have to fucking cancel this thing? And then Jake Paul, do you know what he's going to fucking do on social media? He's going to go in on them so hard. Dude, this is a fucking crazy situation. I'm flabbergasted, guys. I thought that this was like the easiest layup ever. the president of the United States allows the UFC to have a fucking show at the White House, and it's not an American card. Winning, 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 winning. We're gonna win so much, you're gonna get tired of winning. It's obvious. That's like, and now the show might not even pop off. Man, dude, this shit's getting crazy. The support for the president is tanking, even amongst the people that fuck with that dude. Like, it's crazy, man. It's fucking crazy. So everybody that wanted to fight at the White House card probably kind of still wants to go there, but they probably like don't want to fuck with the president now because he's like sending troops overseas when he promised that's what he was not going to do. Shit's getting fucking crazy, man. Speaking of crazy, um, Brendan Schaub went on 8 Diaz. Okay, guys. And so, as crazy as everything's going on in the UFC, Nate Diaz the other day went on Theo Vaughn and he started putting people on blast. One of them was DC, Daniel Cormier, who's a UFC champion. And now Brendan Schaub is firing back on behalf of DC because Nate and Brendan Schaub had beef before. I thought this was the funniest fucking way to describe it. Brendan Schaub and his co host essentially said that Nate Diaz is not the Dodgers. This is a baseball metaphor. He's the Savannah Bananas. He's not elite. He's fun. So like if the Savannah Bananas are in town, you know what I mean? Take your kid, just go see Savannah Bananas, but it's not like a real baseball event. That you would go see the Dodgers if you want to see real baseball. And so they're saying that Nate isn't even like a real like competitive fighter. He's just a fun guy to watch. Man, I bet you Nate Diaz pulls up on Brendan Schaub in the near future in person. I don't know if that's going to be at this MVP card. I don't know if that's going to be backstage somewhere, but Nate Diaz, mark my words, will run up on Brendan Schaub soon. Brendan Schaub says he welcomes it. He says he welcomes it. Brendan Schaub was also saying that he will wrestle at RAF. So he says he doesn't want to wrestle any wrestlers. He only wants to wrestle MMA guys, but he would wrestle. He also said, and we talked about this in a previous live, that he would fight Brock Lesnar if it was for a whole bag of money and neither one of them had to be drug tested. That way they could both do steroids. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about Brendan Schaub, Brock Lesnar, Juice to the Gills, MVP on Netflix? That's crazy. Jake Paul, speaking of Netflix, also addressed the fact that Nate Diaz is essentially calling him out. Jake says that's the fight to make. He says, and I told you guys this yesterday, that this is where this is going. It's going to be Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz for the next MVP card or an MVP card as soon as Jake gets cleared. This is what this whole situation is building up to. Nate Diaz got famous from Conor McGregor. He beat Conor. He rematched Conor. All that drama, all that beef. He got all those eyeballs. He got all that social media presence. Now Jake is smart. So Jake is having him fight Mike Perry, who seems dangerous because he's fighting in bare knuckle. Mike Perry is crushing people in bare knuckle. But this isn't a bare knuckle fight. This is an MMA fight, which should be a very, very easy fight for Nate because Nate is an elite grappler and Mike Perry is not an elite grappler. Trust me, guys. It should be very easy. That would then lead into Nate getting on the mic and calling out Jake Paul, which on Netflix, mark my words, will be the biggest fight in MMA history. As much as people don't want to hear it, they don't like Jake Paul. If Jake Paul fights Nate Diaz on Netflix, that will be the biggest MMA fight in human history. It won't be the most significant in terms of competition. It won't be the most high level experience of pure martial arts, but it will be the biggest, most watched event ever, ever, ever. They're going to do numbers, guys. They're going to do freaking numbers. This is fucking crazy. I see the writing on the wall. I see what they're doing right now. I know you guys see it too. They are going directly at the UFC and they are going to snatch up market share. It's fucking crazy. And I'm the number one fucking UFC like dude. I love the UFC. But man, when it comes down to it, Jake is taking the bigger pie. UFC, in a lot of ways, is like we're the best fight the best. And there's a small market for that of like hardcore fans that want to see the best guys versus the best guys. They want to see Ilya Taporia fight Armin Sarzukian. That's what the hardcores want. The rest of the planet wants to see Ronda versus Gina. And I know, guys, I know you're saying that fight is horrible. Ronda's gonna smoke her. Why are they even fighting? But to the average fan, especially internationally, nobody knows who Ilya Taporia is, except hardcore UFC fans, probably people in Spain and probably people in Georgia. Other than that, like the rest of the planet, no idea. But Ronda Rousey, international star. Gina Carano, international star. So as much as it's troubling to say it as an MMA purist, Netflix is a fucking serious contender. And they have fucking legit fights. The dude, the KSW 2 division champ, he's fighting Kenny Cross. Kenny Cross won on Contender Series. Kenny Cross is a bad motherfucker. He's the tough enough champion out here. He fought a tough fucking dude to win the belt. He won on Contender Series. Kenny Cross versus the KSW champ, that's a legit fucking fight. The UFC has made offers to the KSW champ. They wanted him. And now he's on MVP Netflix. They got Francis Ngannou. And Jake Paul says Francis's new opponent is tougher than his previous opponent. He says his previous opponent was better known. He says Francis has a tougher fight now. Which good on Jake. Jake's out here selling the fight. I don't think that it's going to matter. I think Francis is going to fucking steamroll this guy. I remember being at the gym when Francis was in there. And I'm over here training on the mat. Francis is in the cage. And as we're sparring, pro practice, totally locked in, totally occupied, music's playing. You hear what sounds like the loudest fucking thunder you've ever heard in your life. Well, it sounds like a fucking, like the roof collapse. It sounds like demolition. Francis was sparring a dude that's 6'8", and Francis picked that motherfucker up over his head and fucking body slammed him, dude. The loudest slam I thought the fucking cage was destroyed. Francis is a special, special fighter. He's going to absolutely obliterate this dude. And I know that's not a hot take because everybody agrees with that. I'm just saying that, like, being around the dude in person, that, like, they're bringing in giants to spar the guy, and he's fucking smoking them, and not only beating them up like physically, like with hands. And Francis is very controlled. He's not even doing what he's capable of. Francis is over here wrestling these dudes. You know what I mean? Working on his deficiencies, if they're even deficiencies anymore. It's kind of like when Chris Curtis came over to Extreme Couture, and Chris Curtis had just got, in his own words, ragdolled in the PFL. And then he went from getting taken down like 7 times in one fight to training at Extreme Couture and then wrestling so fucking much that when he got signed to the UFC, he had like the 100%. It was literally like in his first 3 fights, he had 100% takedown defense. He stuffed like 23 takedowns in one fight. We wrestle at Extreme Couture, guys. So Francis might come out here and blast double this dude and ground and pound him. No telling what might happen. That's crazy. Also, Money Moicano, we were discussing that he says he wants easy fights now. He says he wants the biggest names, the most money, the easiest fights. He doesn't want to fight tough up and coming guys for no reason that have no name, no following, right? And this is the first symptom of many of guys who fucking get it. They understand what's happening. There are two diverging roads. One is fighting the toughest guys on the planet, and if you win, nobody really knows who these dudes are, so nobody kind of cares. If you lose, people just see that you lost. They don't care that the dude's tough. They don't even know he's tough. They don't know who he is. It's just some dude they've never heard of. Or you could take the other route, which is fighting the big fucking names, even if they're easier fights. And when you win, everybody goes, man, he beat so and so. I know that guy, dude. And then you're stacking fucking checks up. Then you're fucking banking money, right? And so this I'm telling you guys now is going to be a divergence in paths, and it's going to be a fucking problem. They got to address it. The UFC has to figure this out because these dudes are going to keep on talking their shit. They're going to keep saying that they want more money. They're going to keep saying, oh, MVP's paying more. Let me out of my contract. Oh, dude, I'm going to fight my contract out. Bro, this is, it's turning into a fucking mutiny. Now, the good news is the UFC has the money they can pay these guys. They could go from paying them 15%, 20% of the total that the UFC makes to paying them fucking 30%. That would double everybody's pay instantly. They could pay him fucking 50%, right? They can pay well. So UFC has room to maneuver if the situation escalates, which we can all see the writing on the wall that the situation is currently escalating. And the more shows that Netflix does, the more shit that Jake Paul talks. Nate Diaz versus Jake Paul in MMA, dude, that's going to bring the fucking house down. And expect fighter pay to go up everywhere. I know people are complaining about it now, but in the next like year to 18 months, fighter pay's got to go up. They've they've got to address the fact that Jake is paying. Jake's paying big money. So he's also paying full purses. He's not paying fight and win bonus. He's paying one lump sum. That's very attractive to a lot of fighters. Anyway, there was a good fan question today on Brendan Schaub show. So I thought that was kind of cool. He said, if it were on the same day, all things being equal, which fight would be the actual, like if it was on the same platform, if everything was equal other than just like the actual card itself, what is the better card? The Netflix card or the UFC White House card? Because they're on different days. So they're not direct neck to neck competitive. But in a lot of ways, they are comparatively competitive. So that got me thinking, which is the actual best card? And here's what it comes down to. What metric are you looking at? Do you want the most popular card? Because the most popular card is going to be Netflix. Or do you want the highest skill level card? Because the highest skill level card is going to be the UFC. The issue is everybody walking down the street, nobody gives a fuck about the highest skill level card. Only the hardcores. And Netflix is going to get more eyeballs. Even if it were on the same day, even if we're head to head, even if you move the UFC card to Netflix, this current Netflix card would get more viewers than this current UFC card, even if they were on the same platform. So I thought that was an interesting question, guys. That was a good fucking question. So shout out to the dude who asked that. That was awesome. Also, we got Brendan Schaub. We got Brendan Schaub saying that if you guys are accusing, now I'm not saying you personally, I'm just saying people are accusing Jake Paul of fixing fights, and he says that's so fucking retarded that there's no, because people are fans of like Nate Diaz. You're saying Nate Diaz fixed a fight? You're saying Nate Diaz took a dive? And then he also said that the Tyson fight was kind of iffy, right? But he said like Nate Diaz wouldn't fix a fight, which leads into the next subject, which is Jake Paul says he's suing people who are alleging that he fixes fights. So people online with a big audience, if they come out and they say that Jake Paul fixes fights, Jake Paul is taking that very seriously and he's suing people. He's saying that it defames his brand. He's also saying he's going to sue people who accuse him of steroids. Now, I look at it like this. If you were to ask me, is Jake Paul on some form of testosterone or juice or peptides or something? I would guess yes, allegedly. You know, does he pass drug tests? I guess they drug test him for these boxing matches, right? But like that doesn't mean that somebody's not on the sauce. Now, here's the coldest part of it all. If he's not on the sauce, he should just take that shit as a compliment, man. People think you're on juice, bro. Take it as a compliment. If you're not on juice, people have said I'm on juice. You know what I mean? I grapple somebody like, you're fucking strong. What do you want? I'm like, bro, like meditation and sunshine, 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. I take it as a compliment. And I think that, you know, I here's how I get to the conclusion that I would believe someone in his position might be on something. He's fighting for millions and millions of fucking dollars. He's got access to the best trainers on the planet. He also self-admittedly parties or used to party, right? So he'll put all kinds of shit in his system. You know what I mean? Go to a fucking festival and put whatever up his nose or whatever he said that he used to do. He said, wouldn't you choose to get better results in fucking multi-million dollar fights? Like if there's hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, a lot of people are going to take that as like a insurance policy that they're going to perform well and keep the bag coming in, right? It's a very challenging situation to not do steroids at an elite pro level when everybody's on fucking steroids. Dude, I train with all these UFC guys. They all come into Vegas. They all come by the gym. UFC tests them. I don't know how the fuck they're passing the test, but you can tell when you lock up with somebody or you spar, there's a different level. Everybody knows it. We all talk about it. You can tell who's on it and who's not. You know. There's dudes that are just on it, and you just know. And I'm not saying Jake's on it. I'm just saying he should take it as a compliment if people are saying that he performs, looks, or whatever like he's on it. You know, maybe take it as a compliment, bro. But he says he's not going to take it as a compliment. He's going to sue people. So you know, we're really out here. He said that he might run for president one day. Jake Paul is president, guys. Can you imagine? He said he'll only run for president if he absolutely has to, and if there's another like Kamala Harris type person running who's an absolute idiot, his words, and that he would have to step in and be the voice of reason, essentially. So Jake Paul, president. How old is he? He's got to be 35 to be president, right? I'm guessing he's like 28 right now, so 7 years. So this is 20, so maybe 2032, maybe. Paul, Jake Paul, president of the United States, 2032, guys. So that was fascinating that he says that he's gonna potentially run. He says he's also not scared to die. So he said that they would come to get him and he's ready to die. That's why he fought Anthony Joshua. He was willing to risk it for the biscuit. So yeah, man, Jake Paul, I find Jake Paul to be a fascinating dude. He might be fucking president soon, guys. He might be fucking president soon. So who knows what might happen. Anyways, we got sadly Hogan is going to run before him. Oh, sadly Logan is going to run before him. I thought I said Hogan. Yeah, dude, Logan Paul running for president. I don't know, man. That's a crazy prospect in itself. For whatever reason, I find Jake Paul to be the more uh genuine one of the two. I find Logan to be a little like he just comes across like different, like he's posturing a little. Yeah, so I'm not sure if Logan would have a chance at politics, but sometimes that kind of like posturing personality might be what it takes because I find Gavin Newsom to be way down the line of disingenuous. And he's the fucking governor of California. So who the fuck knows what it takes to be a politician, right? Maybe that inauthentic inauthentic energy is part of it or something. I don't know. I find Jake to be much more just straightforward and real than Logan. And I used to watch Logan's vlogs, you know. I think what did it for me was when he went in on Dylan Dennis kind of. And it's like, dude, Dylan's trying to sell the fight, bro. And I get that Dylan is saying way out of pocket shit. But like, dude, now you're gonna ruin the dude's fucking life. He's trying to sell the fight to make money. And you kind of knew what you were getting into. Then again, Logan went on to have a kid with that girl. So now that's the mother of his child. So I kind of see Logan's point too, guys. I kind of see Logan's point too. Anyway, I'm not sure if I would be ready to vote for the dude for president, but I did start to come over to his way of thinking because at first I was like, dude, why the fuck is he suing doing Dylan Dennis? And then later, in hindsight, once he has a child with that girl, which he's allowed, we're all allowed to date, marry, have children with different people, right? So even though that might not be of the person that I would have recommended for him, he sees something different in her. I'm happy they're happy. He's got a kid with her. And now it kind of makes sense why he did, in fact, sue Dylan Dennis. Jake Paul is now suing people too. I would prefer less lawsuits, but maybe when you're in that situation, that's kind of what you got to do. You got to keep the fucking accusations at bay. Yeah, the lawsuit is crazy. But to be fair, uh, he got the boxing match against him. Yeah. So I was like, my thoughts were like, hey, Logan, Dylan's an asshole. You get to beat him up. You get to fight, right? Like, why are we bringing lawsuits involved? You know, and like Logan's counterpoint is like, well, he's bringing my chick involved, my, I guess, wife or whatever. He can attack. Logan's like, he can attack me as Logan. I'm boxing him, but now he's bringing my family into it, dude. Fuck you, bro. Lawsuit. And as fucking crazy as it sounds, guys, I'm actually gonna say this. It probably prevented the next person who may have said something like that from saying something like that. So I guess it fucking worked, man. I guess it fucking worked. I just wish that the ass whooping would have been enough. You know what I mean? I'm old school, guys. You know, you put these things on them, you shut them up with your fists, you beat the brakes off them. So I would have liked to see it go down in that manner rather than a lawsuit. That's me personally. You know, simpler time, right? We all appreciate a simpler time. Now we got the lawyers involved. It's getting weird. Jake Paul suing people. Logan suing people. You know, they're gonna run for presidential office, apparently. I'm not sure who's gonna vote for them. Yeah, that's definitely best way to take it on. Yeah, take on it. Yeah. I mean, what you're gonna box the dude. Why not? Is that not enough? But you know what? I guess maybe he's setting a precedent to prevent future insults to the mother of his child. And you know, listen, like this is so fucked up, man. This is so fucked up. I kind of respect it. Like it's fucked up, man, because at the time I was like, fuck this, lawsuits. I'm not like a lawsuit dude, you know? But in hindsight, now that they have a kid, it's like he's protecting his chick and his child. You know what I'm saying? It's like, fuck, dude. Am I really saying this? But like, I like that he's protecting his family. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, okay, man. Okay, I'll rock with it, God, bro. You protect your family. It's not like he could do more than box him, right? Like boxing him and Dylan's still talking shit. It's not like he could go hit him with a fucking car and curb stomp him or something. That's illegal, right? Like, so he did the other route, which is instead of going illegal, he went extra legal, which I guess based on today's societal laws, that's his only option, right? You know what I'm saying? So he felt like his back was against the wall. He did what he had to do. He protected his family. Okay, I respect it, guys. Fuck it, guys. Fuck you. I respect it. Completely aside from content and media personality. So that is the like that's the as someone who's made mistakes in their social media presence, had to apologize, had gotten canceled, had done all that. maybe he would have had more grace and leniency towards someone. That would have been maybe nice. But at the same time, I don't think Dylan Dennis seems to be the type of dude that responds to grace and leniency in a positive manner. So, fuck, man, that's such a sketchy situation. But yeah, man, Dylan Dennis went out there and he wrestled Kobe Covington. He lost, but he showed up. So that's important. Shout out to Dylan Dennis. Dylan Dennis is saying he wants to fight MMA. He says all these dudes are easy work. Dylan believes that he can submit these guys easily because he has submitted someone in Bellator before. He believes he could do it to like almost anybody on the planet, which at a certain level, it gets very different when I like, for instance, Ryan Hall took third at ADCC. Ryan Hall got fucked up by Ilya Topuria. At a certain point, it gets real sketchy to have one skill set that you rely on in MMA. So anyway, I'd like to see Dylan Dennis fight again. Maybe we get him on a Jake Paul guard, guys. Can you imagine Dylan Dennis versus like Nick Diaz, MVP? You know what I'm saying? Dylan Dennis versus Nick Diaz. Can you imagine if they got that on the card? Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry and Nick Diaz versus Dylan Dennis? That's now we're talking. Or like Nate Diaz versus Jake Paul is the headliner. Brennan Schaub versus Brock Lesnar is the co-main event, and Nick Diaz versus Dylan Dennis is the fucking featured fight of the night. See, you know what I'm saying? Now we can have fun with matchmaking. Anything's possible. We can bring back fucking Brock Lesnar. We can do whatever the fuck we want. There are no rules. It's Netflix, guys. It's for the fucking fun of the game. Anything goes. So, anyways, I'm fucking excited. There's money coming into fucking MMA like never before. This is an exciting time to be a fighter. This is an exciting time to be a fight fan. Things are only going to get crazier, nuttier, more views, more money. True. Sky's the fucking limit. Rampage Jackson is on Kick. He's making more money on Kick than he ever did in fighting. There's more opportunity now than ever before. It's a good time to get your kids in martial arts. Let's go. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. You see, I fuck with the chat. I love when you guys chat. It makes it so fucking fun for me to be on these lives with you guys. I love you. Appreciate you. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.